Thanks for tuning in to the Marvel Movie Minute.
Want to skip those pesky ads and get early access?
Become a member at truestory.fm/join and discover all the other great perks that come with it.
Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a weekly podcast in which we assemble to explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 5 minutes at a time. In this, our 9th season, we're looking at Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I'm Pete Wright.
I am Fox Matthew.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco. And did you know that since 331 BC, the need to slow the advance of horses, chariots, and war elephants has been met by the Caltrop, a unique triangular-shaped metal object that has since also proved effective when used against wheeled vehicles with pneumatic tires. In fact, so effective that the Caltrop is also the symbol of the United States Marine Corps' 3rd Division, formed on the 16th of September, 1942. Thank you, Persians.
What did I do to deserve this, Rob, today? God, I just am so blessed.
Since I'm one of the trio,
Yeah.
I thought we'd have a little bit of time for me to do, the usual shtick.
Yeah, to do you, to just do you. Well, we are talking about minutes 51 through 55 today, which begins with some quinacrobatics and ends with the product placement we deserve.
But has in the middle of it some caltrops.
There's some caltrops, right?
Courtesy of our Iranian, not just Persian friends.
Well, yes. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank
Very
you.
good. Okay, so here we are. We begin with our quinacrobatics. Now, we had a full Winter Soldier 5 last time. It was the escape, the elevator fight and the escape. And now we have completed the motorcycle leap from the gaping maw that is the S.H.I.E.L.D. Triskelion doors as they just about clip Cap's bike on his way out the runway of the Triskelion. And he is met with the Quinjet.
Well, I should just say before he gets the Quinjet, he sees the traffic spikes, which is the whole point of the intro. Yes.
I'm sorry. I did that. I just skipped the traffic spikes.
That's
sorry,
okay.
Rob.
That's okay.
I just hijacked your entire bit.
Hold on a second. This is a very important point that we need to dive deeper into. Caltrops are specific things you scatter on the road.
Oh, yeah. This is the evolution of those.
Okay,
This is the evolution.
I was going to say, to me, caltrops is like, I don't think in Mario Kart you specifically get caltrops, but everything you're dropping is kind of a form of caltrops. But having something built into the road, it's like caltropiness. It is caltroposity.
These are one-way spikes. Now, okay, but these are actually a very good point of building tension, because as we talked about this is layers on layers of tension. The reason why he sees the traffic spikes is for you to immediately think, oh, he'll just jump those. But can he jump them? No, because now the Quinjet comes into view.
Right.
So
Right.
now he's stuck.
In that regard, would you agree that the Quinjet is in itself its own form of caltrop?
Oh my God.
Is it caltrops all the way down at this
My
point?
apologies to all the listeners. I may have ruined.
Is it, Rob,
Here's
is
the
it a
most important thing.
quintrop?
Next, we don't say anything about this, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good way to test if Kyle listens when he's not here. Because
Yes, it
next
is.
week, we just every now and then say, hey, Pete, it sounds kind of caltroppy.
It's
doesn't it?"
caltrop. There's a
caltrop.
caltropiness.
Drive him crazy.
It's caltropical.
It's-
Oh my God!
We're home. We are absolutely home.
Oh my. Okay, so the Quinjet comes in,
Yes.
and now it gets real.
Does it though? And Rob, I think I might have been provoked to say this is where it gets real as an expression of intensity. But this may be, last week I mentioned that so much of the action, of the fighting choreography of this movie was based on the game, Captain America, First Soldier, First Avenger, whatever the game came out in 2011 with the First Avenger, and that Steve Rogers, I should say Chris Evans, as Steve Rogers / Captain America, played the game and said, we're going to do, this is going to be the fight choreography of this movie, of the Winter Soldier. We're just going to take it from the game. And I think his expression of physicality on the Quinjet is the most video game I think we get in any of the movies in terms of Captain America's just body, right?
Well, and also keep in mind that, again, continuing the theme of this movie, this scene also exists as a homage to another 1990s great.
Thank God you're back. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
What is it?
It's True Lies. It's the Harrier jump jet scene. You've never seen somebody scurry around a flying aircraft. Like, that's what this scene literally is honing in on. It's that scene.
Yeah.
I have to say, I have begun to question that when you introduce your references, you often say it calls back to that 1980s great. And then reference a movie that, if I know, it's because it was not great. But in this case, and I was all ready to jump on that, but True Lies.
Okay.
Come on.
A classic.
Come on.
Oh, thank God.
True Lies is one of the top parts of the oeuvre of the former governor of California.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. I was nervous for a second. I was really nervous.
No, I knew where this was going. I knew where it was going.
Yeah. All right. So I think it is goofy. I think him flopping around all over the thing is goofy. I'm still on board, but it does for me a little bit. The number of times I've seen this movie, it starts to distract from what the rest of this 5 minutes represents, which is a key pivot into the 3 Days of the Condor kind of portion of the movie. It's the jeans and sneakers and hoodie up part of the movie. And it's an interesting way to transition us from what was a very grounded fight scene and a brutal fall through the atrium of the Triskelion to cartoon gymnastics on a jet back to grounded spycraft.
Well, and I think you're right. I think by far the most interesting parts of these minutes are the 5 Days of a Condor part. So let's talk a little bit more about the Quinjet. Because one of the reasons why I think it is so ridiculous is they seem to forget that they can go up. And that having gone up, they can go to the side, because Captain America seems like the laws of physics do not apply, but there is one law that he has to follow, which is gravity. Like, it would be so easy to get him off this thing. But even putting that aside, I do think one thing is interesting, because we were talking before about who is Cap willing to kill or not willing to kill. And I'd forgotten this detail because I was thinking, we don't know who's piloting that Quinjet. We don't know if it is hardcore Hydra people or if it's just, Cap, I thought you were a hero. I don't know why I'm being told to shoot you unless you comply, but I'm being told to shoot you unless you comply. And so did you notice that when he makes the Quinjet crash, they specifically focus on the cockpit and show that there is no damage to the cockpit? Like, it is kind of almost the equivalent of the G.I. Joe parachute of, don't worry, in this massive combat with tanks and guns and planes, no one's actually being harmed.
There's always a parachute.
And even has that nice side eye. He gives it a side eye literally the moment it switches from that scene to him.
Yeah.
Well, and I also love the intro to this scene is they have this gorgeous, and it's plainly composed of you seeing Quinjet on one side, motorcycle on the other, and you literally see him like an ant just fly onto the Quinjet. And the point being is that, hey, he easily could have just taken one of the engines out with the shield. He could have crashed that jet, not cared about the pilot whatsoever. And so the whole idea of the struggle of him on the Quinjet is that he's saving the life of the pilot.
Really, that's what we get out of that.
That's what I get.
I don't think I ever watched it that way. You're right. I mean, I totally get it. It never hit me.
Because he could have disabled that jet in so many different ways. Like, he could have thrown the motorcycle at one of the engines. You know what I mean? Like,
well, because he
not cared. He's doing it so that he can systematically disable the jet so that it does a soft crash on the bridge or the place they're at, and not just destroy the obstacle.
So, okay. So he does, step one, he does use the shield. He chucks the shield at the engine, one of the VTOL wing engines, and destroys that engine. And so the way I always watched it was that he jumps onto the Quinjet to get the shield back, because the shield doesn't return. It lodges itself in the engine. And so the rest of his effort is to get the shield back. But you're right, he does a lot more than just, regain the shield.
And also, I mean, like, okay, I mean, as far as like the disable, that's right. He disables the one engine, but he could have just thrown the shield right at the cockpit and just murdered the guy. Like,
yeah, because it's Cap stops counting.
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Well, no, this obstacle needs to be removed.
Well, and I appreciate you pointing that out, because I had not noticed that it was Cap specifically working to make sure that happens, but I think you're totally right. And I like that it's subtle, that he doesn't say to someone, well, I know these people don't know that I'm not but it's still conveying that message of he had one view of all those terrorists or whatever they were who took over the ship, the mercenaries, and he views the value of the lives of these people differently. In his mind, that he's not sure if they are actually like bad. They're just following, well, I was going to say they're just following orders, and that's actually not that good a defense, but you know what I mean? They're people who, they have a reasonable reason to believe that they're the good guys while they're doing this. And so Cap is respecting that.
Okay, so let me even make it deeper. I think he knows, and here's why. These Quinjets are equipped with Gatling guns on the front, right? That's a fairly high caliber Gatling gun. The purpose of a Gatling gun is to throw so much ammunition into the air that accuracy no longer matters. I almost think now, after breaking this apart, the guy who's piloting it, assuming whoever it is, they're actually working to miss him.
Oh, 100%.
And I think Cap knows that. Like, I think he realizes you're pulling your punch when it comes to firing at me, so I'm going to do the same to you.
So this is a gentleman's duel.
Yes, it is. That's exactly what I think it is.
Well, especially because I think a lot of people, if you don't have the nerves of steel, if you're on a motorcycle and someone's shooting at you, you're probably going to spin out. You're probably going to stop in some way. So yeah, totally agree with all that.
All right. So they're both pulling their punches. Then we turn, as Cap gets away, we are now inside the Triskelion Situation Room, and Sitwell is telling everybody that we need to get Cap. It's a hard target search of every armpit, butt crack around Washington, D.C. That's pretty much the line. I may be paraphrasing. And that gives us a sense of what now the bad guys of S.H.I.E.L.D., not yet called Hydra, are trying to do. And we get Sharon Carter standing up for America.
So you know what I also think this is? I think this is her villain origin. The seed of her future is planted right here.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So we kind of know what happens to her, right?
Okay.
I think this is where she has a moment where she realizes, oh, everything that I thought was true, everything that I thought was good, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have questions. And I think this is the moment, her look, when she's looking at, is that Sitwell, who's the guy, right? She's looking at him like, yo, this is wrong. And I kind of feel like maybe this is the first time she's having that moment of like, hey, we're not being who we say we are. I think this is the beginning of the seed that affects her decisions much later on.
I mean, she was pretending to be a nurse next to the greatest hero America's ever.
Oh, but for a valued purpose. I mean, that was her job. But I think this is the moment where her future decisions come from this moment.
For those who don't know, by the way, we're talking about that she becomes this arms and information dealer, if I remember, in the made up city they have in the Far East. I want to say Tajinpur, something like that. Somebody help me out here.
I wish I could. That's very close to a real city. What is the city?
Right, it's not Kuala Lumpur, but it's something.
No.
But it's and that's in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I believe,
Falcon
right?
and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. It's just a lot of people may not remember that, so just grounding us a little bit.
Oh no, if you're listening to this, you know.
You know. If you know, you know. So
Madripoor. It's Madripoor.
Madripoor, thank you.
All right, so she steps in, and Pierce is lurking and jumps in before Sitwell can respond because he lied to us, Pierce says. Captain Rogers has information regarding the death of Director Fury. He refused to share it. He is now a fugitive from S.H.I.E.L.D. So here we are, leadership of Shield gaslighting Shield. This becomes central to the Danny Pudi problem, which is who amongst this crew is actually already implanted Hydra and who still needs to be convinced.
Back up a second, because I do want to talk about the orders Sitwell gives because they are wildly unconstitutional, and that's what we're discussing. But I'm going to disagree with you. Pierce is not gaslighting. He is 100% telling the truth. Yes, he's putting his spin on it because he is, as we will later find out. But what does he say? He says that Cap lied. He says that Cap wouldn't tell us why Nick Fury was in his apartment. That's 100% the truth.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a fair point. The question then becomes excessive response to that, right? It's Captain America. And I think it's Pierce's the words that he is saying are accurate. His intent is what is not accurate, right? His intent is what shows his hand, I think. To call out all of S.H.I.E.L.D. onto, and Sitwell, the two of them, to call out all of the resources of S.H.I.E.L.D. in order to, as you say, do things that are completely unconstitutional, turning every security camera through the city through that monitor right here. I want scan all sources and phones and computers and PDAs, whatever. If someone tweets about this guy, I want to know about it. That's the stuff that is the sort of mulch of this movie, right? It's what all of this movie grows out of. And it's what I think takes us from the realm of hey, we have a misunderstanding, we have a resource that we need to talk to in Captain America and understand his motivations a little bit better, to something is wrong and we need to just take him down.
I don't always have clear memories of when I watch things. And this may be where I was different, because a lot of people may have known more about this story from the comics or the Pierce character, etc. I, at this point, the first time I watched the movie, 100% believed that he believed this.
Yeah. Okay. I'll buy that.
I thought that was part of the tragedy, was that he was he was the person who was being manipulated, and that he honestly thought his friend is dead and he doesn't know how, and et cetera.
That's that's a really good point, because everything I'm talking about requires the benefit of having seen it before.
But that's part of how brilliant it is, because now we watch it and we're like, how the hell did we miss it?
Yeah. Right. This sequence is beautifully intercut in parallel, because as they're having their conversation, we cut back and forth between what's going on with Steve. And at this point, Steve has gone jeans and sneakers, and he's going back into the hospital, and he's looking for his Hubba Bubba USB stick. And this is where we get a little bit of banter between Steve and Natasha. Is this what you wanted from them? Because this is the first time that they get to have a showdown, essentially. Two people very close to Fury, and now they're laying it all out.
You could cut the sexual tension with a knife. It's a little. Hey, wait, by the way, before we get to this, can I just say one side note? Yeah. I did not know that Altoids make cool honey flavored mints.
Oh, okay.
I had never tried those before, and they're gone. They were only around for a few years. This is I'm not trying to delay the conversation on this. I just want to make sure I get this in. He's walking down this hallway of this hospital, right? He's in a hospital?
Yes.
Okay. Weirdly, they put the vending machine in the hallway, which would never happen, because they don't want somebody standing in the hallway when a gurney's going by. And there's a weird close-up of him looking at it. There's York peppermint patties, double mint gum, Eclipse mints, and cool honey Altoids. I have never seen those before.
Total news to me.
Yeah, they came out in 2009. They were only out for 2 years. Okay, I just want to say that for
I'm really glad you did.
Folks, Altoids did not sponsor us, even though that sounded like Rob, I was going to say that was the best possible transition into a live ad read. But no, Altoids is not sponsoring us. We're just honestly telling you, the listening audience,
we're just fans.
Notice those Altoids, which I did not.
They are curiously strong. And if you consider the curiosity that we all have for the Winter Soldier,
you just take your time.
Yeah, okay, I'm fine. So anyway, there's this cool shot of Captain's face in the reflection, and then you see Black Widow come up behind him, and then he vigorously takes her into a side room. This conversation is so interesting because you feel like truth is being had. So like this is where two people are really just being honest. I would assume there's no further obscuring of fact. And there's real understanding, like there's a real connection between the two of them, which I enjoy.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It starts on that shot in the reflection of the vending machine. I think when she steps up and pops the bubble in her mouth, right? Just to tell us in no uncertain terms, she's the one who bought the gum that was hiding the USB stick. We have no more questions, and that we don't get to be ahead of Cap because he gets it at the same time. I think that's perfect. You're right. That sequence, right? Where is it? Safe. Do better. Where do you get it? Why would I tell you? Right? Just one after another. We get a lot out of this conversation until he says, stop lying. She says, I only act like I know everything, Rogers. I mean, this whole movie and this show in particular, we've been talking about this under the assumption that she knows so much more than Steve. And I wonder if this is sort of the first honest thing she is saying to all of us.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's a very good description of it. And I think her goal is to always know just a little bit more than the person she's talking to. But also, like, if people think you already know the secrets, then they don't mind talking about the secrets. Like, it's a very good skill to have for what she's doing. And I do think that it's an important moment of honesty, and that's exactly why, because she realizes that Cap thinks everyone is lying to him because everybody has been. And to me, it really goes to just how good of a spy she is and how good her character is at these kind of things. And to me, it's connected to the way he treats her, because he throws her against a wall, and there's a lot of sexual tension in that scene because a lot of us are weird little freaks. But like, it's also like she's supposed to be scared by that. She's supposed to be like, what's happening? But she's not. She's not completely unfazed. She's talking to him exactly as though he had just gently walked her into that room, because he has all the physical strength and she has all the control of the scene.
But what I think is also cool is, and okay, I'm gonna go away from being a freak. Here's this moment where she gets to reveal the scar, and you'd say to yourself, "Oh, you're revealing your abdomen, right?" Like, or like, you know what I mean? Like, there should be something sexual about that. Instead, there isn't, because it is done solely as a way for her to convey to him, "Hey, I'm being completely vulnerable here. I'm going to show you my scars."
Yeah,
and all that implies. And it is it's a really good. This is one of those conversations that happen between two characters in a Marvel movie where it does so many things right and really establishes perspective for the audience, which does not happen in a lot of movies. We watch movies, we know this type of character development between two characters does not always happen. And this happens really quickly, and it's really well done.
And I love that it's immediate, because you're right. I think in that moment, she's not trying to be at all like, look at my body. But she then does say immediately, no more bikinis, which is, she's very used to flirting with people to get their attention and to get. And
of course, that's exactly right. Exactly.
And that is very much that's the equivalent of like, oh, I just got out of the shower, I'm sorry. And his reaction is perfect as well, because it's supposed to be oh no, I'm sure you. And instead, he's just as nonchalant of like, yeah, no, I think you still probably look just as good in a bikini, and moving right on. I mean, it is one of my favorite exchanges in the movie, both because it's hilarious, because Scarlett Johansson's in a bikini, no one's going to worry about a scar, but also like he's both acknowledging that, but also being just as unfazed by it.
But they both get a little flirty smile in, right? And that's a nice exchange for them, especially because we know that it never goes anywhere apart from collegial spycraft.
But but there'll be more of this, right? Because there will be future moments like this. And I always think that when it's Cap and Black Widow, I think there is always an assumed feeling that she is you can almost see it. And I think you can see it in this scene where she's looking at him And she's like, wow, I would never thought I would be talking to someone as nice and as good as you. Right.
Right.
And I think what the feeling you get is that Cap is looking at her and going, you think you're not good enough for me. You're wrong. I think there is definitely that shared like respect and like, yeah, there's no, we're both soldiers on the battlefield. That's where I think Cap comes from this. And you can see it in his eyes. Like, it's just, Chris Evans knows he is this character more than I will say Downey Jr., Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man and Tony Stark. God, Chris Evans has nailed the whole soul of what Captain America should be.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Natasha gives us our beat introduction of Winter Soldier. Like, we've seen Winter Soldier at work. We've seen Winter Soldier as an assassin. And now she gets to give us another layer of the onion that is Winter Soldier. 5 years ago, I was escorting a nuclear engineer. She took a Soviet slug, no rifling, shot straight through me. And going after him, he's a dead end. I know, I've tried. He's a ghost story. Now we have the ghost story. Now, apparently, this is one of those where I wish Kyle was here, because Kyle has read all of the intervening years of the comics about Winter Soldier that I have only dabbled in. My understanding is there is quite an effort from Marvel to say, no, he's really dead now for years and years and years. And it was Brubaker who came back and said, you know what, we're actually going to make him an invisible hand as the Winter Soldier. And this introduction of the Winter Soldier telling him this is telling it like the story that he's been a ghost all along, that he is attached to so many different assassinations, is the thing in this 5 minutes that is lifted from the comic run after years of trying not to on Marvel's part. And what a great character to be able to do that. And I think it starts us on our little research kick and gets our people back on the move. And then we cut back to our sit room.
I do just need to say the one last thing of that the no rifling, I'm going to remind us, that means he's firing a blunderbuss.
Yes.
Rifling is what gives
Musket,
bullets their
right.
accuracy. He is firing a musket.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Yeah. I still fantasize about the Winter Soldier's armaments room. It's just like there's now they're just bear traps. Okay, so now Pierce is talking. Tell me what you think of the gamesmanship of our man Pierce.
Ooh, interesting question.
It starts with him talking to the council, right? They're all of his holographic council members, and they're kind of chewing him out, right? You know what makes him a traitor? Hiring a mercenary to hijack his own ship. They're talking about Nick Fury. They're talking about coercion, and it puts Pierce apparently on his back foot.
Yeah, this is one of the greatest, oh, please don't throw me in that briar patch moments that we've ever seen. And again, he plays it so well, and especially because he's set himself up so much as, I am another Nick Fury. I am Nick Fury's buddy. And so the idea that not only is he sharing Nick Fury's objections to Project Insight, but when have we seen the council except arguing with Nick Fury? You know, this is the group that Nick Fury says, I acknowledge your decision, but because it's a stupid decision, I'm ignoring it, or whatever the actual quote is. That 3 million people just yelled at their podcast players as I massively update our increase our listener numbers. But the point being, so I think it is so brilliant to put Pierce in that exact same situation where, again, it looks like he's trying to push back against them and they're like, no, we can't do it. Because now once you see it a second time, or if you've already figured it out the first time, congratulations, you're better than me, you realize how brilliant he's being, because this is the best kind of manipulation, is when it can seem like your opponents are forcing you to do the thing that you have wanted them to do the whole time.
What I love about this, especially coming right off of the Black Widow Cap scene, did you notice the camera never stops moving? The entire sequence of this, it's never
always
stops
tracking.
moving. It's always tracking, and I would have to think that had to make the special effects harder to do because, right? But the reason is because it's befuddling. That's the whole point of the scene, is that the charade is being reversed. And I just love that note, especially when you watch it over and over again to try to pull out the meaning and stuff. It's a very neat thing. And I just get Jedi Council vibes whenever I watch this.
Yeah.
Like I'm just waiting for Mace Windu to be, well, Mace Windu should be.
Yeah.
He would be there.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
And it's very much that Palpatine thing of like, oh, make me chance. Oh,
exactly.
Supreme powers for me? Oh, I
shucks.
know.
Yeah.
I suppose I'll take that clone army. Yeah, it's the exact same kind of energy.
I kind of love that both the council and Pierce each get a mic drop line, right? We have, are you calling for my resignation? I've got a pen and paper right here, right? That is the ultimate bluff call. But then, I can't remember his name. What's his name? He says, this council moves to immediately reactivate project Insight. You want to say something snappy? Now would be a good time. I love that line so much, and they give it to the council member, right? It's not even one of our hero characters. It's just the council member, and it's great.
Can you imagine? Well, two things then to say. As I watch this, I constantly think to myself, can you imagine somehow taking a time machine and showing 1978 Robert Redford this and say, look what a movie you're going to be in someday. And him going, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But at the same time, can you imagine anybody else pulling this scene off?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something so beautiful about that because, and granted, this movie came along before we'd really gotten this far, but if you look at Hollywood today, there's kind of this civil war happening, no pun intended, between the huge, big budget, comic book movies and the indie flicks. And what is the granddaddy of supporting indie flicks? The Sundance Film Festival, which is 100% Robert Redford's baby. And I think it is true that at this point, the comic book movies didn't yet have that power that they have had for the last 10 years or so, but they were definitely getting there. And his performance adds a lot of weight. I think his performance is a big part of, as we've talked about before, other big name. I don't know if Angela Bassett stars in one of these movies. I don't know if Sigourney Weaver goes into a TV show for Marvel. Like if Robert Redford doesn't do it. And so to me, it's kind of hilarious that the granddaddy of the independent film movement was a big part of cementing the $500 million, tentpole Marvel movie taking over Hollywood.
So we transition back to sneakers and jeans. Steve and Natasha are on the move. And where do they go? Well, they're in Cleveland still. And they went to, at least for the exteriors and interior location, they are in Cleveland's Tower City Center on 230 West Huron Road. This is from movie-locations.com, which is a perennial favorite for anybody doing a movie show. And they get to wander about the mall, and they get to walk slowly. And Natasha gets to teach Steve how to be covert. And we've talked about this before. I can't remember which one of you mentioned it, but the fact that Steve has been a soldier on a battlefield and likely has no skills on how to be covert. That's really fun. Is it a mic drop line that he gets to say, if I were to run, my shoes would fall off?
I thought about going back to look at his shoes, but I had a baby in my arms at the time. But did we see the brand of the shoes? Because that's kind of like a negative endorsement.
I know. He's negging his sneaks.
No, I couldn't tell what kind they were.
They're just generic whites.
Yeah, generic. Yeah.
So it does it makes me think that if he were to just bolt, just a full cap run, what comes off first, right? Does the sole just melt off his feet? Is that what the threading just rips apart? His feet are too massive?
Or maybe he's trying to say those shoes are too comfortable.
Too comfortable?
Where's my old issue leather combat boots?
Yeah. It's
what
like
are
that
these
pillow.
things? That's how I took it. That's what I took. What I was.
The soles of his
saying.
shoes are marshmallows.
Right.
You guys, no, we were totally wrong. I just figured it out. It's the one shame of Captain America that we never actually see on film. It's that when they gave him the super soldier serum, his feet didn't grow. He has little tiny feet and he's wearing giant shoes. They're like clown shoes for him. This is actually a story of great shame. I'm so sad.
If anybody has a podcast about Marvel they can invite me on, you can contact me at...
He's like Kirsten Wiig's character on Saturday Night Live, where she's got the little
Lawrence and Welk.
He's got little
Lawrence Welk show.
He's got...
Okay, all right.
Oh boy!
Where are
but look,
they
he's
going?
got the issue. This has been on multiple seasons. We've talked about this. The baseball cap is the MCU's covert disguise of all time. Just put a baseball cap on. Nobody
always throw the baseball cap on, right?
You're fine.
Right. And where is he going? Well, he's going to an Apple store.
Yay!
This was the thing that it's not the Apple store in the Tower City Center, because there is no Apple store in the Tower City Center Mall. Instead, they shot all the interiors of the Apple store and the Genius Bar at the Topanga Apple store in California. And then we get into product placement land. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that the MacBook Pro gets a featured placement. Of course we want to. How would you like to talk about how wrong everything in this scene is?
Oh, okay. Wait, can I just say two things before we dive into that? One, this is in Cleveland. Have you guys have talked about this in a previous thing? This is also where a part of the Avengers is shot.
Yes.
Okay, so you got that. The Loki scene. Okay.
Yes.
Two, do you know how much my heart swelled seeing the old Genius Bar logo lit up on the wall?
I know.
I miss that so much. Those days.
I'm just so glad we get another 5 minutes where we get to talk about it again next week. It just does my heart good.
So for those of you who don't know, like, okay, so when you see that logo that looks like the three atoms or whatever, the orbits, that's the original Genius Bar logo. When the first Apple stores opened, like back in 2001 and throughout the 2000s, they had an actual place, like a bar you'd sit at on a nice bar stool, and you could just chat with the geniuses. And I did that a lot.
I did that a lot. Yeah,
I was Norm. At my local Apple store. Cheers reference. There you go. No, I mean, like, absolutely. Like, and it was such a great thing. And now that doesn't even exist. I mean, it's outside of what the current model is.
Well, so this is just an opportunity to talk about, when movies take you out of them because they do something that you should just be able to let go, but you can't. So the floor computers, the floor Macs in an Apple store all run what they call MDM, Mac demo mode, and the USB ports, external drives, any of the external ports, they're all locked down behind Gatekeeper. Demo Macs do not cooperate with arbitrary USB sticks. They would never be able to do this. The movie is totally lying to me, but I love it anyway. It's okay. We're in it for the product placement. It was just, easy to write around. If it weren't for the fact that they needed to get some logos on the screen, it would have been easy to fix. And still, they managed to bring up to launch the stick. And the stick is important because when the stick goes online, that starts our 9-minute ticking clock. And we need the ticking clock in order to get us to the other end of this scene and start the chase.
And that's it. I mean, it lights up, cars leave the SHIELD headquarters, and away we go.
And away we go. We have begun. We need to point out, she does say at one point, at the very end, somebody's trying to hide something. The drive is protected by some sort of AI. It keeps rewriting itself to counter my commands. The person who developed this is slightly smarter than me. Slightly. I'm so glad that line didn't get broken up by our minutes, because now we have a teaser. We're hanging a flag on some future entity that we're going to see, the AI that rewrites itself.
I also want to say, I think that as dumb as the whole go to the, use a computer to do this high level AI thing is, it is, Rob, forgive me again for knuckling in on your territory, another cool reference to a scene that we've seen in a number of earlier action movies, where most recently to this one, I think, would have been the first season of Heroes, in which, we have a videotape that people need to watch. And so what do? You go to a VHS store, you go to a TV store, and you pop it in and watch it right there. So that's just it's just kind of a fun way to see that now get updated to this. And I think
sure.
There's something else I think I've seen where like they go to a place like this and like load up a YouTube video because again, they don't want to watch it on their home computer. Like it's a cool way of not being tracked, and it's fun to see them doing this version of it, even if the tech makes no sense.
I mean, there's you could say there's a little bit of Johnny Mnemonic, maybe a little Strange Days.
Oh yeah,
there's a little things here.
Hackers. I'll just say hackers. It's great. It's a great beat, and it does get us started into the chase. And so we're fully in it. The movie has made the turn, and we're now in full on spycraft. Let's see how long that lasts. Anything else? Any other beats you guys want to talk about before we move through? Next week we meet Aaron. I
just want to say that I want to put it out to the universe that I've enjoyed this, but the last couple weeks have been rough for at least one portion of the Marvel fandom.
Why?
And because of something that has not happened for going on 3 weeks now. So I'm going to put down my flag. I am committed to this hope. I hope everyone else is committed to this hope that by the time we get to next week's episodes, the New York Mets will have won a game.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Because they haven't won in 2 weeks. It's a 12-game losing streak. 12 games.
Rob. I think I hear code.
Peralta has had great starts. Nolan McLean has had great start after great start. They just can't hit. What's going on?
Just going to just slowly turn the volume down on Matthew's track.
When you look at the stats and you're like, there's this one episode and it's just hard cut, like everyone drops out, like right here. Like that's it.
It is the Mets.
I appreciate it that Pete hasn't learned from me because Pete and I have the controls, so to speak, and I would have just kicked Pete out of the chat.
That's true. That's true, mercenary. All right.
You needed a Caltrop.
We need a podcast Caltrop, a podtrop. Oh, for crying out loud.
That was terrible. Sorry.
That was so terrible.
Welcome back, Rob.
This has been so fun. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and checking out the stuff that we do. Let me just go ahead and say, if you aren't on it yet, head over to truestory.fm and look for the shows of the Ethical Panda, because over there on Star Wars Generations podcast, they're talking about Maul Shadow Lord. And I have been lucky enough to be a guest on that show, and hopefully will be again. And it's a crazy good show. It is much better than I expected it to be.
It is so much better.
Yeah, I am very, very into it. And so looking forward to more of that. And you can find Rob right here. This is what Rob does all the time. Is just right here on the Marvel Movie Minute. And I will once again promote myself by saying go to your friendly neighborhood Amazon and search for my novella, Lattice, a novel if you're into a little light science fiction. I offer that to you. It's my newest thing, and it's not a podcast. So I'd love it for you to check it out. That's all I got. That's all we've got. And so thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time and attention. We'll see you next week for minutes 56 through 60.
We've got the teamwork to make the dream work. Let's go. Let's go, Mets!
Bye.